Okay, so I just watched TNA Hard to Kill last night, and I gotta say, I know the year is young, but next to New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom 18, I think this is easily the best pay-per-view so far this year. Well, nothing tops Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Kingdom is easily one of the best pay-per-views, but that's another one for another time. So I didn't get to watch the pre-show because I don't have the TNA Plus yet. I know I gotta change that up, which I will in due time. So without further ado, let's start with the first opening match, the X Division match with the women's X Division match. Overall, it was as usual. The X Division matches can be very fun, very exciting. I mean, it's very interesting and new. In It's one of the more interesting and more unique matches in wrestling, period, and often most exciting as well. And definitely a lot of back and forth, definitely a lot of surprises. But I figured that Gazelle Shaw was definitely going to win it, and she did. Overall, I say it was a good start to the show. Could have been better, could have been worse. Thankfully, it was simplified, and be very interested to see what happens well, obviously with the women's division now regarding what's going to happen with Trinity's departure, if she goes or not. Who really knows? We shall see. But overall, I really enjoyed the match, and moving on to the tag match, or singles match with PCO and Dirty Dango. Unfortunately, as you know, it was short due to a disqualification, but thankfully they did fix it. I thought PCO's entrance was really, really cool, by the way. I'd like to see more of these entrances down the road. If you haven't seen it, you'll know what I mean. But thankfully, it got changed into a tag match. Definitely one of the first real surprises of the night, which there were many really cool, surprises that night. But that was one of the first, and we ended up getting a unique tag match with Rhino, Jake Something, PCO defeating Alpha Bravo by pinfall. That was a very fun six-tag man match, and definitely one of the first of many surprises. And I gotta say, although I was thrown off, the payoff was pretty good in that match. I thought, at least I thought it was. Let me know what your thoughts were down below. Then you get another surprise tag team match for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. We saw the return of Decay, Havoc, and Rosemary. I did not see that coming. And it just goes to show, sometimes you don't always need to announce it. Sometimes surprises work best well. And it really worked here. The crowd got into it. The crowd was really loud. That's one good thing about smaller venues, I think, is that the crowd always makes a show work. And it definitely made the match and made the show work here. And it was definitely a good match overall. Not a great match, but I thought it was a good match. And we got the best outcome. And I'm happy those two are back. I think it's going to be great, especially, 2024. It's one of the many comebacks that TNA needed, no doubt, going forward here. So, moving on to Chris Sabin versus in the three-man match for the TNA X Division. Sorry, I cannot pronounce his name properly. El Hero del Ming and Gashida. I was kind of rooting for. I admit I was kind of rooting for Kushida in this match, but it could have gone either way. But I do think that Chris Sabin was the right person to win this match going forward in the TNA X Division Championship. X Division's always one of the more exciting divisions in TNA wrestling. But it was a very fun, exciting match overall. Probably one of the better matches. Probably I would say one of the more underrated matches of that night, in my opinion. Then you had Josh Alexander versus Alex Hammerstone, and I gotta say, those two put on a very good technical clinic here. And it did get a little slow in the middle of the match, but it did pick up towards the end. I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was. Sometimes you don't need constant kicking out of finishers. You don't always need jumping up around. Sometimes you just need a good solid match, and that's what this reminded me of. Here, and sometimes just in-ring work, really good technical in-ring work, works very well, makes for a good match as well. So I really like what I saw so far. And I think it was a good win for Josh Alexander. Then we move on to the four-way tag match. For me, I think this was easily my favorite match of the night. I don't know what you all thought, But this was my pick for match of the night. I really enjoyed this one. The four-way tag match between ABC, the Rascals, pardon me. Grizzled Young Veterans. I think that was one of the on edge, more exciting matches of the night. But I really think, though, that not a shadow of a doubt that Ace Austin's got to be one of the most exciting, one of the most dynamic wrestlers I've seen in a long, long time. It's amazing what this guy can do in the ring. Like, it's just incredible. It's always a joy to watch him every night, and he really proved it here. This match was long, back and forth. I was never bored. I was always excited. I was excited throughout the entire match, and they definitely delivered here. All four teams did, and I do see a big, bright future for Ace Austin, and not taking anything from Chris Bay, too. He actually put in a really good performance as well, but I think that, when it comes to dynamics, I think Ace Austin takes the edge there, so I'd definitely like to see him hold a major title someday soon. I do think that if TNA holds it together, he could very well be the future of this company, and I think I could also see a bright singles future for Chris Bay as well, so all in all, this was match of the night for me. This was very fun, very dynamic. It really reminded me of old Fatal 4-Way tag team matches, and this one delivered on all fronts. I was really looking forward to this one the most, and this match the most. This one the most, and it definitely paid off. So this is easily a 5-star, close to 10-star match for me. I'd say solid 8 out of 10. Now moving on, we got Jordynne Grace versus Trinity. Now, based on rumors, based on speculation, we don't know what's going to happen with Trinity, whether she's going to go or not. I kind of figured that Jordynne Grace was going to win this one. Still a very good match, still a very solid women's match overall. Definitely some surprises, but it really depends on what's going to happen here. Now, if will Trinity go back to WWE, or will she stay with TNA? Who really knows at this point? I think they're probably under negotiation. It really depends. I mean, I think she's a great performer overall. I think she has one of the best characters, best gimmicks in wrestling. The glow gimmick is really, really cool. I've always been fond of it, especially during her days in the WWE. But it's all speculation at this point. I get the feeling that we may see her in a Royal Rumble. That's the one I'm thinking. Maybe she'll appear in the match as a surprise entrant. But who really knows? Then let's not take away from the partnership with between TNA, the announcement between TNA and Lucha Libre, AAA Wrestling, which I may do a video on that separately. I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on that. So stay tuned for that. But then we get to the main event, the big one, Moose versus Alex Shelley. And I gotta say, this was definitely far better than I expected. I think that this is, next to the Fatal 4-Way match, this was probably my second favorite match of the entire night. Even though I knew what the outcome was going to be, it was a very fun, very surprising, very exciting match. There wasn't much outside interference. It was back and forth. It wasn't overly dramatic. It was simplified, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. And personally, I think the best guy won. I think it's Moose was long deserving of a title run, and I'm glad he finally got it here. And then we get to the very surprise ending. Nick Nemeth, also known as Dolph Ziggler, appearing at the end. I did not see that coming. I was blown away, like many were. I just couldn't believe it. Like, the crowd was really excited and really into it. And I couldn't think of a better way to close out the show and a better way to start out the year. So these are my thoughts on TNA Hard to Kill. I'm going to give the show a solid 8 out of 10. Although it was somewhat predictable, I know the year is young, but I still think that this is easily still one of the better pay-per-views so far. I had a great time from start to finish, and I'm definitely going to be tuning into TNA a lot more down the road and doing more reviews like this down the road as well. What were your thoughts? What was your favorite match of the show? What were your favorite moments of the show? Please comment down below. What are you looking forward to in the future for TNA and for wrestling as a whole? Till then, that's all I got. Good night. Peace out, everyone.